Well, we've all had coaches in our lives. And when there's a leader, those leaders search within those people who have the heart that want to be great. As Coach Mike Krzyzewski said of Duke University, usually when people think of coaches, we think of a person right in your face, intense, possibly even throwing chairs. But that's not what a coach is. And so, did you guys know about over 2,000 jobs are held by coaches each year? And so, throughout this presentation, I'd like to tell you about how coaches are motivators, challengers, and teachers. And this way, we can get a better idea of what coaches are really about. My first topic is teachers. And when we think about teachers, usually we think of professors dressed in a nice suit, people that are probably monotone. But as coaches, coaches are the best type of teachers you can possibly have. They can teach you the life skills that you need to know on and off the court. When I say that, I'm emphasizing that even athletics can teach you that. And, all right, so when you're a college coach, you really emphasize that you're not here for the game. You're here to get a good education and to find a good job after. According to aboutcollege.com, this shows that when the coaches emphasize the academic side, they're more willing to do great and graduate. This is their main stress point. They want to win games, of course. Every program wants to win games. But if you don't have that academic side, you can't do it. And another thing coaches really also teach students is what type of learner they are. Seeing if they are a visual learner when they're even doing drills. Example, in basketball, you're teaching them a box out drill. You could possibly just tell them, oh, just go do that, when really you take the time to show them that drill, and then they're able to relate. And that's what also brings out students as well. Next thing I go into are the challengers. Coaches like to challenge you. They don't want you to just be thinking they can just hand something right to you and then say, here you go. They challenge you. And that's what a good majority of all players get inside their heads. It's a lot of mental game. And coaches have to figure out a way of how they can deal with that and how they can show the players that they're putting them in game type situations. Even by watching film, getting them the idea of this is what is going to be going on, how are you going to deal with this situation, and how are you going to accommodate to it. The next point I go into is motivator. Motivator is one of the big key elements in this area. This is one of the coach's biggest jobs, is to motivate their athletes. And they do it in 4 easy steps. First, they need to sell the players. And how you sell the players is getting them ready, getting them fired up. Because that's what they want to do. That's what they want to know. And when you get them fired up, ready to go, you're bound for success. According to Advantage Competition, they said that another point in motivation is every day. They stated that 90% of their motivation has to come from practice. The reason they state that practice is such a big element to that is because they're getting them ready for their competitor and getting them ready for that next day. And only 10% of that only 10% of the motivation comes before a big game, a big competition. Now others shake their head and think, how can that be? How can only 10% of that motivation just come from a big speech a coach can give? Well, during those practices, like I said earlier, they're putting them in those situations that they need to get ready for. And when you just give a big speech before a game, they reflect back on that practice session they had and be like, that's what coach was talking about, and that's how we're gonna execute that play. Another step that coaches as motivators is they wanna establish relationships. Establish relationships with those players. Let them know that, yes, I am your coach, but yet also I'm here for you off the court. And also too, gaining that relationship with them. Asking them how they're doing, asking them, how can I help you out, even in game type situations, but also offside your sport. Also too, maintaining those relationships with your assistant coaches. Those are the main people you're gonna turn to in the game like situations and say, hey, what should I do in this type of situation? And if you can't turn to them, you're in for trouble. And this is how, when you motivate others around you, this is how they want to be better. And even with failures that come along. There are going to be failures throughout all coaches, whether they have a winning season or not. And they have to figure out how they're going to be better each day. And the last step to motivators is just having fun with them. Reminding these athletes that they're in a sport because they love it and they want to have fun with it. Kind of bringing them back when they were playing like Pee-wees or Little League, anything like that. You want to remind them that you have a passion for this and that you do love to do what you do. And this is why coaches are such great people to have in lives, to see how you can learn from them and how they can be that great influence on you. Of course, your main point as a coach is you want to win. Obviously, that's the main point. You want to get to the tournament, you want to win that championship, you want to have your name around, you want people to know who you are. But, as all great coaches, you need to also think that you need to be motivated and you have to challenge these kids. You have to teach them. Because they're going to look back at their 4 years of being at school and they're going to say, wow, I had a great coach that pushed me to do the best I could do and really showed me that I can do just about anything because I set my mind to it and I can do it. And I want you guys to know that I want you to think of someone in your lives who's really pushed you, who's really motivated you to do the best that you can do each and every day. And just even think, what skills have they taught you guys? What type of person are you today because of them? And so I challenge you guys to do that. I challenge you each and every day to think about that. As you can tell, coaches have the passion for the sport. They want their teams to do good. They want to be just like this guy, be hanging around, winning trophies, winning championships. And that is how you can be a motivator for a coach. So a career is just a dribble away.